Just recently I bought a grandfather clock movement. It's the Hermle 1171-850. This picture here is commonly used by a lot of people on the internet to advertise this particular movement. I got this movement from an outfit in Ontario called Craft Time Clockery. I'm very pleased with this movement. My only surprise was that it was advertised as coming from the Black Forest in Germany. However, as you can clearly see, it's stamped on the back, Made in USA. This is, however, a very high quality mechanical movement. I've been making clocks for well over 30 years now as a hobby, and I know the difference between cheap and tinny and high quality, and this is high quality. This movement came with everything you need if you're planning on making your own case. It came with a dial, the pendulum, the weights, the weight shells, everything you need, all the hardware. The pendulum's disc has a very nice decorative embossing, which really seems to add to the looks. Okay, so I'm really anxious to get this thing up and running. And I'm thinking now, how can I easily do this and yet have something that's going to look good? So I've made a temporary case for it until I can get around to making something really nice. Anyway, this is what I've made. The back of the case was made with just cheap spruce lumber and a piece of 1/4-inch fir plywood for the back. Because I knew this clock was going to be very heavy, I knew that I was going to have to make a very strong bracket, so you can see all the extra lumber there in the back. That's for the bracket. There's a piece that fits into that slot that is actually fastened securely to the wall, and the clock just sort of slips over the piece on the wall and hangs on that bracket. Very strong. Those cheap dollar store clamps came in handy. Well, here it is hanging on the wall. And this clock I wanted to do different from the others. All the others, what I've done is I've just used the natural grain of the wood to bring out the beauty of the clock. And this one I wanted to paint it, mainly because I used a lot of cheap lumber. As I mentioned, the back was made of spruce and fir. The rest of the clock is made of aspen, a type of poplar, just very cheap, soft wood. And so I thought, no, I want to paint it. I was going to do it either white or black. When I did the primer was white. And so I didn't like the looks of it, so I painted it black. The unique feature about this case is I made it so that it can completely open up. Even the top opens so that you can get at it and get at the movement from the top and of course both sides. I've never seen anything quite like it before. Probably never will again. Any of the other clocks that I've made that used a weight-driven movement, when I would wind them up, the movement would either stop or actually run backwards as it was being wound. Now, with this movement, it has a built-in mechanism that keeps the movement running forward as it's being wound. Watch as I turn the crank here. Notice that the second hand keeps running forward. That's nice. Well, there you have it, the Hermle 1171-850. $850 in a very unique temporary case.